Hello everyone, welcome back for another tutorial, this time on Turnitin setting groups. Have you ever wondered if you have so many students in your Turnitin, well, how do you set up a group assignment for them? Instead of students submitting their own work, you have a collaboration here. Separate groups, you wanted to see team members working together. And this is what team members see. In one single group, as long as one team member submits, the others can also see that submission. And when you grade, you can assign the same grade to everyone within that same group. To create the groups, come to the left navigation bar, Groups. We click through that. You see, I have already got these groups created with either 3 to 4 students in a group. But if you haven't created yet, this part will be pretty empty except for the class itself. So we scroll down to create group. It brings us through a link. And here you can give a name to the group. Go down, Save Changes. Now at the bottom here, I have this test group that I've just created, and it's empty. Then I have to come to the right side, add or remove users. The students that belong to the same team can then be added to that group itself. You can select multiple selection by pressing or holding the Control key on your keyboard. Go to Add. Then back to Groups. Now let's look at the group that we have created. Test. There are 3 students within this group itself. This is a manual way in creating the groups. If you have a larger class, then it will take some time to put all the students into the groups itself. But there is also a second way to create the groups. In my case, look at all these names, I didn't create the groups. My student created it themselves. At this late stage in the semester, I wouldn't recommend for students to create their own groups because it will take time, and it is best to only do this at the beginning of the semester, so you can try this out in the coming semester. In the main subject Moodle page, we come to where we want to add an activity or resource. Then, Group Self-Selection, and then we go to Edit. This is where you put in the name of the assignment for the students. And you might want to give them some description if you haven't briefed them yet, such as how many members in a team or when they should be forming that team itself. Choosing the open or open until date, minimum members per group, maximum per group. So this is where we want to put our settings in, something like that. What is the maximum number of groups to participate in? Did you realize that our subject group already is a grouping? So if the maximum group is 1, the students will not be able to self-enroll for the assignment group because the subject group itself is the one group. So we have to change this to 2 groups. Then we go down, nothing much to change there. You can look at that settings, but I'll just go and click Save and Return to Site. And you get this group formation link where you ask the students to self-enroll into the assignment group, choose their team members. One thing to note, team leaders should create the group, then other team members go and join the group that team leaders have created. How I usually do it is to conduct this during the tutorial and make sure everyone create the group and join within the same time. At this late stage of the semester, it is always best to create the group by ourselves instead of asking students to do it. Once we have finished creating all of the groups, the next thing to do is to put all the groups into the grouping. You can see it this way. Groups are subsets of the groupings. So let's go to groupings. In my case, I have put all of the individual groups into a grouping called Assessment 1. To create your assignment grouping, come down and create grouping. Give it a name. In your case, it should be the assignment name. Go to Save Changes. Now you realize the group that we have just created has no activities linked. It's time to put in the groups to it before linking all of the activities. So this icon with the person, we click on that. You can then select the relevant groups and put them into the grouping. Be very sure to not include the subject instant group. It must be deselected. Do not put it into the assignment group. Otherwise, what we have done will not work. Add them in. Now all of the groups come into our test group. We are ready and click back to groupings. Once the grouping is done, let's go on to link it to our activities, which is our Turnitin assignment. Now we can come to our Turnitin, where we have originally created, and now we go to edit settings. If you wanted to know more about Turnitin settings, refer to the Turnitin video that I've created. Otherwise, here I'm just linking it to groups. So we scroll down to the drop down of groups and visibility. Under group mode, originally it's supposed to be just no groups. That was the default setting. What we want is to change it into separate groups. Please do not put visible groups, because under visible groups, they can see different group members' assignment. Then plagiarism issue might happen. What we want is separate groups. Under the separate group settings, only team members within the same group can see each other's assignment because they belong to the same team, while other groups won't be able to see theirs. Then grouping, we link the groupings that we have just created. Then save and return to site. We can verify the setting by looking at this small little icon. You don't have to click it because it just shows you that we have done our separate group settings. That's it. So what you can do is to click into the Turnitin link. On top, you will see that separate group setting has been done, and we can look at either all participants or group by group. Those are the groups that we just added. However, for the students themselves, they won't be able to see what we are looking at, which is all the groups as well as all participants. For them, they will only see who they belong with, their own groups, and these are the group members that they belong with. That's all they see. And of course, just one team member submit the assignment. The other 2 or 3 will be able to look at the same assignment. This is an example where one student has submitted the assignment while the rest of the 2 does not have to submit, and you have to make it really clear to the students they cannot submit, otherwise they will self-plagiarize their team members. Only one student should be submitting, which is why I put it here under my briefing for my students as well. Only one person should submit. Later on, once you have graded the assignment in Turnitin, you will give a mark to the particular student who have submitted the assignment. What about his or her team members? Then you have to come back to this link itself, this site, and to click on the pencil icon to put in the same marks for the rest of the team members. Of course, that's assuming that you want the team members to get the same mark. That's it for this tutorial on creating groups and groupings for assignment. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know and I'll be happy to help. Thank you.